Hello and welcome to Red Hawk Spotlight. I'm Priscilla De La Rosa. Our guest today, the field hockey head coach, Eileen O'Reilly. Eileen has just embarked on her 5th season as head coach, and the team is currently ranked number 11 in the country. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy to be here today.
So before you became head coach, you were working as an assistant under Beth Gotten,
Yes.
who was very successful.
Yes.
Were you nervous at all to take on the role as head coach after her?
Oh, definitely. I think no matter where or when you become a head coach, the transition from assistant to head coach, it's challenging. It's also challenging to fill the shoes of someone before you who was very successful. But I had a lot of good support from Beth and the other assistant coaches, and they're a big reason for our ongoing success.
Now, Beth is on your staff now. How is that experience?
It's great. It's definitely been a trial and error process, but we've learned things each of the past 5 years, improve each day. Overall, I'd say it's extremely positive. I wouldn't be truthful if I said it was perfect every day, but we work well together, we are close, and truly we have each other's best interests and the team's best interests, and that's what makes it work.
Now, in 2014, you started the Red Hawks Leave a Legacy campaign, and you guys raised $10,000 for the locker rooms to be redone. What inspired you to make that campaign?
I think our alumni really inspired me to make that campaign. Something that makes the field hockey program here at Montclair State so special is our alumni support and involvement. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, and I don't even think it exists at other colleges and field hockey programs. The number of alumni that come back to games, that text me good luck, they've graduated years ago, that coach in high school, coach club teams, it's awesome. So I knew they were a group that we could lean on to say, hey, this is something that's going to make our team even more successful. Could you support us with this and, help upgrade our facilities so that, our team has the best resources possible?
So since you've been head coach, you led the Red Hawks to 3 straight NCAA tournaments. Do you feel any pressure to continue leading them to NCAA tournaments?
Not so much. It is something that is definitely a goal. But as a coach and even the student athletes, they know it's such a process to get there that if you only think about the end result, you will certainly miss key steps along the way. So I don't necessarily feel pressure to make the NCAA tournament. I feel the most pressure to make daily progress and make sure we're doing that to achieve our big goals.
Your team started the season off on a 5-game winning streak. However, you guys did lose 2 recent games. How do you bounce back from that?
That's a great question. Every season has ebbs and flows. Every game really has ebbs and flows, and that's something that we focus on a lot, and it goes back to the concept of daily improvement. And today we have to be thinking about, yes, the adjustments that we need to make from yesterday, but we also have to have our eyes forward on the next thing, our next game Saturday, and conference play starting in just over a week. So it's, a balance of both reflecting on, what happened, but also eyes forward, a positive response that we're ready to move forward and make the changes we need to make.
What did you tell your team after that last loss that you guys had?
Well, we've been talking about communication a lot. That was a theme before the game, during the game, and after the game. And we have really smart young women on the team, on and off the field. We talk about game sense a lot and field hockey IQ, and we should be really confident in our ability on the field to make decisions and to lead and direct each other. And we're experiencing right now that we're not always as confident as we should be with that communication. And it became a series of little things that added up to big problems. It's all fixable, but we got to get our confidence back.
Your goalkeeper this season was named NJAC Defensive Player of the Week. What makes her so successful?
I think for Nicole, something that makes her special is her work ethic, and she has improved so much since she arrived here, and her willingness to focus on different things and her willingness to take risks. It's been a process, but I think she's playing at such a high level because she's been willing to make changes along the way.
If you could coach any sport in the world besides field hockey, what would it be?
That's a tough question. You know, I don't know. No one's ever asked me. I think it would be interesting to be involved in and feel the experience that some more high-profile sports gain. It's hard to, be specific with the sport, but football and basketball are the premier sports in college athletics. So I think to be on a bigger stage, it would be interesting, knowing the day-to-day pressures and ebbs and flows of a less high-profile sport like field hockey. I think it would be interesting to be maybe in a role like that.
Now, I did have you as a professor for volleyball.
Yes.
Do you think you may be interested in coaching volleyball? Because you were really good
No.
No?
I think something that the average person doesn't realize about coaching is the nuances, the X's and O's that go into it, and it takes a long time. I'm still a young coach and I'm still learning, but I'm certainly not equipped to really be a high-level volleyball coach.
What is something that you learned as a head coach now that you wished you learned sooner?
Definitely, and I spoke a little bit about this before when you were talking about making the NCAA tournament and pressure to get to that point. Everything is a process. Every season begins as, this year we have, I think, 23 women on the team, 23 puzzle pieces on the table. Yeah, the coaches, we have 5 coaches, so that's 28. And how does everybody fit together? And you can't just slide all the pieces together and make it look perfect. It takes time and analysis and working with the different pieces to make it work. And as a brand new coach, you want everything to be perfect on day one, and that's not possible. It's not probably possible at any point during the season, but it's about that analysis and figuring out how can we shift this, what happens if I put this here, and then how does it look? It's all about that, really.
Okay, so you did speak a little bit about not everything's going to be perfect once you start. What advice besides that would you give to someone who's looking to become a coach for any other team?
The biggest advice, it's hard to pick one thing, but I think that's something that I try to remind myself of on a daily basis. Coaching, and especially college athletics, and this could be applied to all sports, it's not about you. It is about the women or the men or whoever, the men and women on the team. In our case, it's just women. It's about them and their interactions. And I think a lot of times coaches feel like their decisions and everything they do on a daily basis, they get so focused on themselves. It's not like an ego thing, but you lose sight of the greater vision. And ultimately, I'm not out there playing. I'm not out there making the decisions. It's the women on the team that have to be able to do things on their own and have to be able to do things together without me. So you have to see your role as a guide, and you can put out information and you can try different things and you can try to dictate how certain things are going to happen, but ultimately you're not the one out there, and it's more about the people on the team.
Do you ever get nervous knowing that your team is going to go out there and you can't help them by playing?
Truthfully, something that I think about often, and this comes with a successful team, one of my colleagues was just talking to me about this today. Teams that we play, thinking about FDU, I wish you could have seen their faces when they beat us. It was their Super Bowl. This is going to be the biggest win of their season, and every team we play acts like that. So it's hard when your average Wednesday regular season non-conference game is just a game, then the other team, it's their Super Bowl. I get a little nervous about that because I know everybody's going to bring it. Everybody wants to beat Montclair State, and that grind makes me a little nervous, and it's something that the women on the team, they have to endure and they have to learn to overcome. But that's something I think I do think about, and I get a little nervous about how we can do a better job managing some of those emotions.
Okay, so outside of field hockey, what is your greatest passion?
My greatest passion outside of field hockey, the girls on my team, they'll laugh when they see this. I'm a fitness enthusiast. I like to run. I think I've had an uptick in my running passion and focus. Last year I ran the New York Marathon for the first time, which was cool. For some reason, I agreed to do it again this year, so I'm in the heart of getting ready for that. But I think it's a good balance in field hockey season because the New York Marathon's in November. So you have to take time away from the film and the office to just be out there and be in your head and think about different things and literally air it out. So that's a passion I have and how it relates back.
How did you prepare for your first marathon?
Well, I run with a running group in Montclair that's out of the Montclair Bread Company. Now it's the Montclair Running Company, it just changed names. And I've met a really great community there. So anybody looking to get into running or anything you're passionate about, it's awesome to do in a group where you have support and people holding you accountable. I followed a training plan. You got to be disciplined and get up early, all those things. But it was a great experience. I would recommend it to anybody.
Now, how did you prepare mentally for it?
It's funny you ask that. It was hard to prepare mentally. I have an uncle who ran the New York Marathon, I think 21 times. He's a funny guy, and he sent me, like when your dad or your uncle or an older person sends you one of those text messages that's like a book. He had all this advice, and some of it was good and some of it was hilarious, but like his whole message basically was like, don't take yourself too seriously. You're out here to enjoy the experience. It's a once in a lifetime for some or a one of a kind experience running through New York City like that. That's just some advice from other people that I really care about help me.
Now, I did read an article about you when you were a student athlete. And that same question was asked, and you said that your passion was candy.
That's also a passion, yes.
What is your favorite candy?
It's hard to pick one. I really like sour, gummy type things. This is actually, we were talking on the bus yesterday on our way to FDU about different candy. Sometimes the girls will bring me candy. One of the women on the team, who's Lizzie, number 9, she brought me a bag of candy. And then I got one of our assistants a bag of candy yesterday, and Lizzie was like, where's my candy? Like, I gave you a bag. And I was like, well, Lizzie, I can't just get you a bag. I have to get everybody a bag. These were like these, Haribo. That's like a European candy brand, but they have it around here. They're well known for gummy bears, but they make all kinds of like sour stuff that's terrible for your teeth. So, all things in moderation.
Tell me a little bit about field hockey and why is it so big overseas as opposed to here?
Field hockey, it's actually mostly played on the East Coast in the U.S. It's like a very regional sport. It is played elsewhere. There are some colleges in California that are at Division I level, very few. There are some Midwest, like Chicago, Ohio. It is primarily known as an international sport, like you said. I think just because that's where it originated. It's not necessarily a new sport in the U.S. It's been around for, it's been an Olympic sport for a long time. I just don't think it's had the same development and exposure as other sports in the U.S., like soccer or basketball. I don't really know why. I also don't really know why it hasn't developed on the men's side in the U.S. There is a men's national team. There is men's Olympic field hockey. The U.S. men's team hasn't qualified in a long time. I think that's definitely a goal of USA Field Hockey. That's like the national organization that, for American field hockey. They're trying to promote men's field hockey and get the grassroots events and organizations going a little bit more. It's a tough question, and it is, honestly, it's a little controversial why that there's more women playing than men.
Okay, so earlier you did mention that you have 23 girls on the team. I was wondering, who is the fiercest one?
Oh, man. Who is the fiercest one? They're going to be mad at me if I have to pick one. The fiercest one, well, it's hard because I have a couple that are very fierce and they don't really know how to rein it in at the right times. I'll give you 2 because I think it's appropriate. I think the person that is the fiercest and manages it the best is Keely Wynn. She's a senior. I think she's number 17. She plays center back for us. Super dominant. She's fearless. She does a great job in her role defensively and like really not letting the other team get the ball. Probably the fiercest overall, and she would know that I would say this about her, but does not manage it well in the right moments, is Yael Yona. She's a junior. Great athlete, so aggressive, so passionate, but you have to know the right moments to be fierce. And if I'm, like if we were playing and I'm over fierce or like I overcommit to you at the wrong moment, you're going to go right around me. So we're working with Yael to rein it in, manage her fierceness, and have it strike at the right moments, if that makes sense.
Yes. Eileen, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Priscilla De La Rosa. Thank you so much for tuning in to Red Hawk Spotlight.